Hello, Scruffy fam. Summer's here, so let's start to get ready for my 7-year-old's first youth hunt. Let's go. What's up, guys? Joe here from the Scruffy fam. So, I have 5 kids, and a question I get when I'm talking to people about hunting is, hey, how old do you let your kids start hunting at? Well, and that depends. That depends on your family, your choices, where you live, and what the state laws allow. So for me here in Wisconsin, I usually go about 7 years old before I take my kiddos hunting with me. Now, I've been hunting with my oldest, who's now 18, several times, and he had gone with his grandfather before and his uncle, and he's already been out several times. And when we first started, he just sat in the blind. He didn't have a firearm. And when he started actually taking a firearm, he was 12. And when he was 12, he started with the .243. Now, when he first started shooting, he started with the .22, then a .223, and then moved up to the .243 when he went hunting. And for his 18th birthday and his graduation, I gifted him my .308. Now, the .308 has a break on it, and when he went and shot that, he was like, oh, this is great, I love my .308. And that is appropriate for him and his size. He's 18, he's 6 foot, almost 200 pounds, he's a big boy. That .308 with a break on it, when he shoots it, has no recoil whatsoever. So I have a little bit different perspective now on what I'm going to do for the rest of my kids as they stair step into firearms, firearm safety, and then hunting. So the very first firearm that all my kids get to plink with is the Daisy Red Ryder. Okay, this thing far and away is number one. The reason this is the first one is because there's zero recoil. You can get 6,000 rounds. I can shoot this in my backyard, and we can start working on the fundamentals of marksmanship and firearm safety with this, with a low impact, both financially and time-wise. I can take my kiddos out in the backyard, and I don't have to load up 4 little kids in the van, go drop people off at sitters, I don't have to do all that. I can just go in my backyard, chuck a pop can out there, and we can have some fun. So one of the ways that we start working on targeting and tracking is hop the can. So what that is, you throw a pop can in the backyard, you don't move, and you shoot the pop can, and as it hops and moves through the yard, you keep tracking it and shooting it until you can't do it anymore. And I got asked, well, why would you use something like this to start with? And a couple reasons. One, I want my kiddos to have fun with firearms while still maintaining safety with firearms. So what I do, and the reason I use the pop can, is because then when we're done, I can pick up the pop can and show them what those BBs actually do to the can, so that they can have a respect of what ammunition can do on target. So that is the first one that we use, is this, to teach the fundamentals of firearms and really start working on targeting with the iron sights. Now, this thing's good for about 10-15 yards. You can still hit a pop can, which is pretty impressive. But let's talk about what's next. The next thing we go to is a .22. Now, this is my 10-22. This is a lot more modified than what you would probably get. But in the basic configuration, a .22 rifle is a very, very good initial starting point to get kids used to shooting. I think 4-H uses .22s, and I think it's a really good starting point. The recoil of a .22 is about a 1/4 pound of felt energy recoil. Super, super light recoil. And the cool thing about this chassis is we can adjust the length of pull. So as you can see here, I've got different spacers. I can pull all those spacers out and bring it down to super, super light. Also, this configuration is much heavier. So what I do is I put a bipod, I put a bag, and we get used to this steady platform when shooting. And so this is working on trigger pull, the sound, and the recoil. This is a step up from the pellet gun. No recoil with the pellet gun. Very, very, very little recoil with the .22, but the reaction of the pull the trigger boom is something that we're looking for without jumping or flinching with the .22. So we're practicing with this right now. Now probably in the next 6 weeks, we'll move up to the next one. But let's have a conversation of what that's going to be. So historically, the 243 has been the step in. Now, I don't have a 223 anymore, but I do have this 243, and this is actually my wife's Ruger American standard that I just did a video of putting it in this Oryx chassis and getting it set up. So this is not the configuration you would normally see, but this is what she asked for, and I think it's a really good platform. There's a lot of really cool things about this. The recoil on this is about 9 pounds, and this is a little bit heavier stock, so I'd say you're probably getting about 8 pounds of felt recoil. 8 pounds is not that much. It is very, very manageable and very doable. And I would say that for generations, the 243 has been the gateway hunting rifle for many, many people because it is big enough to harvest whitetail, antelope, anything in that medium and down. You can even hunt prairie dogs with this. The number of different grain weights that you can use in a 243 is really, really nice. You can go as high as 100 grains and down to, I think, 55 grains. These are great varmint rounds, great whitetail, pronghorn, absolutely wonderful, but my 7-year-old is still kind of small. He's about 50 pounds soaking wet, so even 9 pounds of felt recoil could be a little much for him. My oldest was 12 when he went into the 243, and I think that's kind of the age, depending on the size of your kiddo, I think that 8-9 age range is when you can start to think about a 243, but I'd probably put a brake on it, because even with 9 pounds of felt recoil, that's still quite a bit. That's like someone pushing you in the shoulder. And so when they shoot, like if I shoot this, it does this. If he shoots this, it would do this. And that's not something we want. So let's talk about what we actually are deciding to do. All right, so this is my Ruger American Ranch in 7.62 by 39. This has a felt recoil of about 7.5 pounds until, and here's the really cool thing, until you put a brake on it. Once you put a brake on this, the felt recoil on this is 4 pounds. Depending on who you ask and how you do that, it's anywhere from about 3.5 to 4 pounds of felt recoil. That is nothing. And when you put it in a chassis system like this and add a little bit of weight, that reduces it down even more. So we're talking about a little over 3.5 pounds of felt recoil. We decided that this is going to be the hunting rifle this year for him. 7.62 by 39 is more than appropriate for taking whitetail here in Wisconsin. At the ranges that he's going to be hunting, I would say 200 yards and in. Very similar to using like a 30-30. We're not doing extended long range here, but that's not something we need to worry about where we hunt. Being in this chassis system, we can put this on the blind. I can also put this on a tripod. There's a lot of different configuration options I can do with this to make it easier for him to hunt. So here in a couple months, what we're going to do is start transitioning him to shooting this after we get more trigger time behind the 243, and he will use this rifle for a while. I did a video where I was shooting it, and you can see the recoil is absolutely nothing. I don't even come maybe half an MOA off target when I'm shooting, which is absolutely impressive. So the 7.62 by 39 is still a 30 caliber bullet that you're sending down range. We're using the Hornady SST from the Hornady Black. It's a ballistic tip. It's 123 grains. No problem to take down a whitetail. So this is what we decided to go with. Recoil matters when you're talking about kiddos. And by putting a brake on this one, this reduces the recoil down very, very significantly. Even less than you would feel out of a 223. So guys, this is our choice for the youth hunt this year. I'm very excited to get my 7-year-old out there. It'll be his first time hunting. And let's go ahead and wrap this up. All right, guys, so let's wrap all this up. Now, we're picking the 7.62 by 39 in the ranch for a couple reasons. One, it's modular, it's a short frame. My kiddo's small, so it'll be very easy for us to put this on a tripod, rest it on the blind, and take a shot if we need to. The recoil is also super, 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 super mild. And by doing that, we're not going to develop a flinch or scared. So that's something that I want you guys to take into account, is when you're introducing your kiddo to shooting, I have heard people say don't put a brake or put a silencer. I think, look, a brake is going to reduce recoil by over 40%. And when you've got a small kiddo that's coming into hunting, you don't want them to get beat up. I would never have my kids start with my .338 Win Mag. That's just mean. You want to make sure that it's going to be light recoil, easy to handle, and something that's fun to shoot. The muzzle brake doesn't make all this gigantic noise that people say it does. Is it louder? Yes, it is. But you're wearing hearing protection, that shouldn't be an issue. Now, if you live in a state that allows you to hunt with a suppressor, I think that's a great option. You're going to keep it quiet. It is going to reduce recoil, but it reduces recoil by around 20 to 30%. It doesn't reduce it as much as a brake does, but it still reduces recoil and it reduces the sound. I don't have any silencers, not something that I've got yet, not something that's super important to me. That may change. We'll kind of see how it goes. But we've decided 7.62 by 39 over the 243 as a starting point. Tell me what you guys think. What is the one that you would use for your kiddos, or you have used for your kiddos getting into hunting? What is the round that you think is the best for a youth? What is the best for a kiddo? And what is your first transitioning to adulthood round? So for us, we start on the 22, 7.62 by 39, then 243, and then my oldest has now a 308. Let's have a conversation. Tell me what you guys think. If you like what you're seeing, like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and we'll see you guys next time.